What about this idea that everything in the Bible has to be taken literally?
Did God write it or not?
No, it was certainly God breathed.
Now, I'm asking you, did God write it or not?
Well, some would say God inspired.
When God breathed it, when we say write it, I'm writing it down. Was it God's idea? Was it God's creation? Was it... If God created, do you believe that God created the earth and all that's in it? That's number one. If you believe that, then you must believe that he also created the paper, the printer, and the men who wrote the Bible. The scribes, all of them, all of them. Was it his idea? Was it his idea, this Bible, this book, this βιβλίο? Αυτή είναι το βιβλίο από το Θεός. Is it or not?
Right. Well, we're saying yes.
Okay.
It is God inspired. What we're asking you, in your experience, that what do you do with? What do you do with places in the Bible that you put side by side and say, this literally isn't working? Or have you experienced that?
Yes.
Yeah.
My greatest experience along this line is the Book of Solomon. I don't like it, and I'm going to tell him so when I get there. He knows it already, but I'm going to tell him. Why'd you put that in there? I don't like that book. I'm going to say that. But he knows. He put it there for a reason.
And what do you
If
do?
16 people wrote the Book of Solomon as it is now, there would be 16 different versions, wouldn't there? But if 16 people talk to God about the Book of Solomon, there's going to be 16 answers. He's going to answer every single one of them. Just like he's always answered me. Read it. You'll like it. There's something in there that he wants me to see. The book of Jonah. I don't like Jonah getting swallowed by a whale. I don't like him being down in there in that goop and goo and stuff. So why do I have to read that? There is a reason. You know that song, there for every season there's a reason? Well, it's true. I don't know why he put two versions of the creation. I don't know why he put the Book of Solomon in there. That's one of those questions I get to ask. I think we are so privileged. It's so wondrous to know. It's okay if I don't know everything now, because I'm gonna know. It's okay. And when I need to know, I know. If I need to tell you something, I tell you, don't I?
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my job. And my job is not to sit down and figure out why God wrote two versions of this, and why God, what about the book of Noah and the ark?
Oh,
Moses and the burning
Genesis.
bush. I don't need to, you know.
Well, let me give you a phrase and ask you to reflect on it. Would you say, or would you think that to say that the Bible doesn't have to be literally true to contain.
Yes, it's true. No, you're wrong. I didn't say that.
Well,
The
then-
Bible is truth because God is truth.
Well, just, okay, you didn't let me finish. Okay. What I was going to say is there are people who would take the Bible and read it like a regular book.
Right. Now, there you go.
You know, they would take it and say, well, I look at Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, and they can't both be right. I look at the Gospels, and I see Jesus turning over the tables in the temple in the beginning, one place of his ministry, and at the end of another place in another gospel. I see Jesus being tempted after coming out of the desert, and I see a different order to that temptation depending on which gospel I read.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a real problem with that. There are people that would say that because they're trying to read it literally like they're reading a history book or a nonfiction book. What I would ask that you rather reflect on is this idea that the Bible does not have to be literally true to contain great truth.
The Bible is all truth, as seen by the person writing it. Mm-hmm. And the person writing it saw it as God chose for him to see it, or it wouldn't be in there.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He knows there's a lot of different peoples in there. People say, I can't stand John Steinbeck. Some people say, I adore John Steinbeck. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way. I don't like John's writing. I really don't like the book of John. I don't know where he came up with that idea. But other people say, that Matthew, what a big shot he was. He writes like my teacher, so-and-so and so-and-so. Mm-hmm. If we read it in that respect, but they are all saying certain things that nothing changes. Not the words of one man, not the words of the student, not the words of the tax collector, not the words of the fisherman who never went to school a day in his life. There are certain things that don't change, that stay the same. What are they?
God's love.
God, He gave us Jesus, and He gave us the Holy Spirit. What greater love hath there ever been? Has there ever been? Mm-hmm. And never will be. And all of them say the same thing. Outside of that, there's so many people, God's people are like the grains of sand. And every grain of sand is different. And every book in the Bible is different. There isn't one book in the Bible that's totally the same, right or wrong.
Right.
But they all say three things. Every book in the Bible. It's enough if we let it. The rest we can just enjoy. We can study it and think about the people, think about what they were actually doing in those days. Why did they do this and why did they do that? Because that's what it was in those days. The kids say to me, Yaya, why did you do this and this and this? Why didn't you do it this way? Because that's the way it was when I was growing up. That's the way it was. It'll be different when you get to be 85.
No.
It'll be different when you get to be 55, 60, whatever. It's constantly changing. But there's three things that never, ever changes. How many times has the Bible been written and rewritten? And every single time something's different. But there's some things that don't change. And if you hold on to those, you'll make it. You can ask them when you get up there, why did you do that?